Hey, what's up, troublemakers? I'm Rod, and Vince is behind the camera today. As you can tell from the title of the video, this is going to be a fun one. So before we jump into that, make sure you're subscribed to this channel if you're not already. Okay, so first off, a couple of disclaimers. Not really looking for any sympathy or pity or anything for this topic. It's just something that's been weighing on me for a little while, and I just want to get off my chest. Also, I don't really want to delve into the bigger picture subjects like whitewashing in Hollywood or Tinder statistics or anything like that. There's a lot of stuff out there for that, and I seriously don't have the mental capacity to really fairly evaluate all those things. I'm just going to go with what's kind of been going on inside of me since I was a kid and what's kind of been bubbling up recently. All that being said, I'm not really looking for a revolution or anything huge to come out of this. It's just something that's been weighing on me for a little while, and I talked to some really close friends, and they encouraged me to kind of just use this platform and this opportunity to get it off my chest and maybe connect with a few people that feel similar or want to understand this perspective. For some of you who know me, I'm sorry if this is the first time you're hearing some of these things or if anything upsets you. It's not really my intention, and the reason I hadn't brought it up before is because no single circumstance was really worth bringing up, and also just didn't have that much of an impact individually, but we'll kind of get into those things in a little bit. So what brought all this up? It's actually been kind of something that's been in my head for a long time, mainly because it's something that happens every day. I can't think of a single day in my life where it hasn't happened at some point. And also, we just released this song called Pretty for a teen movie that is geared towards teenage girls and their self-image and things like that. And Vince and I and Giada and Mariano and everybody involved in the song are very proud of the message that we were able to get through in a song like that. And the more that we've been listening to it up to the release of the song, and even now that the song's out there in the world, the more it kind of got me thinking that I can't keep all these things just kind of inside. And to be honest, this video scares me to death. I've convinced myself 100 times not to make this video, and a few friends I trust told me maybe it's not the greatest idea, but some friends I trust more told me it was a great idea, so we're gonna go with that. So I've been rambling on about how it's not the big things, and I don't want to talk about big picture stuff. So if it's not the big things, then what is it about? It's not necessarily something that's on a banner in front of me every day and something that really like hits me over the head like a hammer, but it's the small things, and it's the daily erosion. It's kind of like sandpaper, how over time can really wear you down, even though, depending on the amount of pressure on that day, could almost feel like virtually nothing. As a first generation Korean, there wasn't a whole lot of people that looked like me growing up, and all the people that I looked up to and I admired and I wanted to be like didn't look like me, and that put a lot of thoughts into my head about what my face should look like and how my hair should be. And there was a stage where I bleached my freaking hair because it needed to look a certain way, and once again, there wasn't anything explicit about it. It was just, that's how my friends look like, and that's what was kind of expected. And it wasn't anyone saying you have to do this, but it's the way it was. And I felt like just another kid in Indiana growing up until I was reminded that I wasn't, at least outwardly. And those kind of little things just build up in you over time. It became a big thing, and I wish that I would have had the foresight and knowledge to have known myself well enough then to not let it affect me to build up into something that's much bigger. And I'll be honest, there's some days I would look in the mirror and just see lines and things to fix like it was an equation, and that was a really messed up way to look at things. Instead of trying to think of myself as something to add to society, I was thinking of myself as something that needed to be corrected within my society, and that spirals downward really quickly. I want to do everything for myself to not ever get back down there, and I know I want to do everything in my power to make sure that as few people as possible go down that path with themselves. And I hope part of that solution is recognizing that early on, that these small things add up to big, big things. For anybody that's younger or even just in the early stages of thinking like this, I want you to kind of like take a stand now, even just a small one, to know yourself, to embrace the things that are different about you, both physically and in your personality. A few examples. Vince and I are both at least partially Asian. I'm fully Korean. Vince is part Japanese, part Italian, and arguably a little bit more Asian than I am. I grew up in central Indiana around cornfields and apple orchards, and Vince has samurai swords and has taught me how to use them in the past. But when you see the two of us together, it's clearly me that's the Asian one, And a lot of assumptions come along with that, and I can just be standing there doing nothing, and all these assumptions kind of come up, especially when we're out on gigs or we're producing or working with artists or writing songs with people. The weirdest, smallest things come out that bother me, and some of those things are when people just assume you're the Asian one, so you take care of the business. You keep track of scheduling and logistics and all that stuff, and that's the reason you're in this band, is because you can keep the paperwork together and you can keep the emails straight, and that's your job because you obviously did well in school. And this is without me saying anything, or maybe sometimes never even meeting the person before that moment, and then just assuming that Vince is the musician. And Vince is a great musician. This was why we work so well together. And I don't want to take too much credit, but there was a time when I was a solo musician, and before this band was even a thing, I wrote my own songs, I toured, I had a lot of success in music, and I still write songs now. I play piano, I play keys, I program drums sometimes, even though drums aren't my forte, and do a lot with the music. RKVC is a 50-50 venture, and we both write, we both record, we both sing, and it's not any one person doing any one function. There are times when both of us go out to Starbucks or wherever to set up shop, and we're answering emails and taking care of logistics together, and it just, in a single instance, it doesn't really bother me that people assume that I'm the more scholastic one just because I'm Asian. But over time, it just kind of gets to be old because it kind of devalues all the work I put into as being an artist and a songwriter. And I guess over time, eventually hurts. And I'm not sure what to cleverly metaphor that with, but that's how it feels like. And I want to, tell the world and tell the people that make those comments that I'm a musician as well. I'm not just here to answer emails and take care of the business and the marketing for this band. That's something both of us do because it's a necessity. We're an independent band, and that's just something that goes along with it. And just because I come from what you view as more of a scholastic ethnicity, I'm not sure even what to call that, that doesn't automatically place me in this category where I'm obviously the smart one that can't write songs or maybe doesn't do as much with it, but my function here is to just take care of all the admin stuff that just drives me crazy because my entire life revolves around becoming a better songwriter and an artist and just growing in so many other things. And then there's the joke that all Asian people look the same. And I'm not here to say that that's not funny. I've laughed at those jokes before. I've made those jokes before, and that's fine. But the real problem lies in it actually affecting everyday real life. One of those examples being back on the East Coast at a Wawa. If you don't know what Wawa is, it's heaven and life. And by life, I mean a really great convenience store. And one day I stopped in to get a sandwich and some other stuff to eat, and I was ordering my food when this woman came out of nowhere and just started ripping into me. She grabbed my shoulder and yelled bloody murder at me, and I couldn't make out what she was saying because she was so angry. And when I finally kind of got her to calm down, I figured out that she was yelling at me for taking her parking spot or like cutting her off or something in the parking lot, which was so strange because that didn't happen at all. I literally just parked and got into the store. I wasn't even at a good parking spot at the store. And in the middle of her yelling at me, I was trying to calm her down and figure out what happened, if I was on some sort of candid camera show or what was up, because I was just so confused. It happened so quickly and she was so aggressive that it made me just as much or more confused as she was. And before I could completely calm her down, another gentleman, an older Asian man, came in and kind of intervened between us and apologized and told the woman, I'm sorry, I'm the one that cut you off. I really had to use the restroom. So I parked real quick in front of you and then ran into the bathroom, and I meant to come out and apologize and had no idea. And that was kind of messed up because that guy, as nice as he was a good 20 years older than me, but he was also the only Asian guy in the store. And the woman didn't apologize. She was still so upset that she just kind of blamed both of us for being who we were, and it just caused a big stir. And that, not a lot of things upset me, but that was like something that really just kind of like rubbed me the wrong way and kind of stuck with me that this is not just a joke. It's actually it's actually something that happened. And, maybe it was a mistake, but it's instances like that that kind of, I don't want to sound too whiny about it, but make me feel like less of an individual. And I don't get into those headspaces a lot or complain about things that or complain about things like that a lot, but it's just really bothered me ever since it happened. And I don't know what to make of that situation and things like that. I could go on for a long time about these little daily things, but the sum of all those experiences really leave me at the end of the day feeling like an unattractive person just because of the bloodline I come from. And I honestly don't know how to get over that. There's a lot of self-worth in everything else, you know, things I've accomplished, things I'm working towards. I'm very confident in those things. And there are days I look in the mirror and I'm like, I'm great. I can do this. But there's so many other times where it's hard to believe in yourself when these small things kind of wear away at you all the time. And again, I don't want to complain about it too much because I had a good life growing up, but it was just something that I felt like if it was affecting me, then maybe someone else out there was feeling some similar sort of way. And I know there are people out there that have much bigger fish to fry, and I don't want to devalue anything that they're going through. This is just internally for me, and maybe this is a super privileged thing for me to complain about. I'm not sure, but it is something real and something that's been happening, and I don't expect it to stop. I don't think one video is going to stop everything, and I don't even know really what I'm suggesting in all of this. I just felt like we've gone through a lot of growth together. We've been really goofy together. We've made music together, and I feel like this community, out of any other, can really understand and maybe kind of help me process what's going on and why I feel like this, and possibly why other people kind of feel like this. Once again, there's no big thing. I've had a good life where I've been fortunate enough to not be the victim of any direct harassment or physical harm because of racism or any sort of prejudice. But it's all these little things that individually don't mean much and on their own don't amount to anything worthwhile stirring up. But over time, I realize how much they weigh down on me. And sometimes it's years later that I realize how much it's worn me down and how much I have to slightly bite my tongue in a lot of situations, to the point where I feel kind of like a spring that's been gradually compressed. It includes all feelings and emotions, not just the ones that I'm trying to hold back, so that when I can finally let my guard down, things like me laughing uncontrollably happens. And that is something part of my characteristic. I have these spells where I laugh really loud, and it happens when I finally feel comfortable and able to let my guard down and not have to deal with these small eroding things, and is actually a sign that I'm in the best place, even for a moment in my life. And even those moments get shut down by friends and foes. That moment of joy and vulnerability really annoys people. And there's a number of times that I can appreciate the humor in that quirk in my personality. But over time, it really bothers me how much even my joy is quelled. It's just kind of messed up to not let someone be happy. And I apologize if I have ever done that to anyone, because it's the worst feeling ever, especially when you spend so much, maybe not necessarily effort, but a lot of time over a period just kind of keeping other feelings down, that when you finally let your guard down and are able to show your true self and really be happy and in the moment, that people won't let you have it. And once again, I'm sorry if that's the first time some of you have heard that, but it is something that really bothers me. And like I said, maybe not in individual instances, but built up over time. And I don't know what to do about it, because if a quirk of my personality bothers you, I'm not sure how to remedy that. So some of the things I've been talking about are specific to being an Asian male, and there's been a lot of things in the news about celebrities who have said that Asian guys aren't attractive in statistics, and those bigger picture things that I said I didn't want to talk about, and those things are very real, and from time to time kind of weigh down on me too. And I don't want to sound like a wuss for talking about these things, but once again, some very, very close friends have encouraged me to open up about it, especially to an audience that has watched us on camera for years, and that if it's something that I've been thinking about that long, that it needs to be out there, and I need to connect with someone else that maybe need to kind of hear something about this, or maybe somebody to connect with me and kind of help me get through some of these things. Other things don't have anything to do with being an Asian male. That's just me, but that's kind of part of it. And I don't know what the solution is. And like I said at the beginning, I'm not really expecting a big revolution, not really sure what to expect, but my initial reaction, my gut thought is, if this all started with small, slow, eroding actions and words, then maybe that's where the solution starts, is the small, slow rebuilding of little things throughout the day. And that doesn't just go for Asian males, that doesn't just go for me, that's for everyone in your life, because even though these are specific to my situation, I know that there's a lot of other people with a lot of other circumstances that have very specific things going on with them. And maybe take the time to just always err on the side of positivity and being kind and beneficial and inclusive and connected over just trying to be funny at the expense of someone else's quirks or things like that. Not to say that you can't give people a hard time because you're friends. That's definitely one of the perks of a good friendship. But maybe kind of feel out your day-to-day and really pay attention to how you're affecting people and be aware of how things are going, because there are bigger issues and those definitely need to be tended to, but here on the ground level and internally there's a lot of battles to be fought, and that is something that you and myself and everyone else can kind of do within your community and your friends and your loved ones for each other, that I think a lot of small actions can beget a really big reaction. And we joke about causing trouble on this channel and stirring things up, and I still believe that. I think this is part of stirring that up. But at the heart of hearts, I know myself and Vince and everyone in our crew and our team and our family want what's best for everyone and for the world to kind of be healed from everything that's really messed up right now. I hope you get what I'm getting at, because maybe we can't stop these big blowout disagreements or politics or whitewashing in Hollywood and what people think about different ethnicities on Tinder and things, but maybe we can just be a little bit better to each other. And as a whole, a lot of little things will equal to a lot. And that's all I think I'm really going to ask for. And I hope this little talk wasn't too much of a downer. It's just something that I didn't know where to put, and talk to a lot of YouTube friends that talk about things like this a lot, and really dug deep and thought about a lot, made a lot of notes. And it's like one of my friends said, just vomit on paper, walk away and come back to it and just see how it pieces together. And that's what happened. And if you're still watching this, I hope you got something out of it. I hope we're more connected now. I hope I didn't waste your time. And I don't know where this ends, and I don't even think it really ends. I think we keep talking about it, and it's going to be this ongoing thing. But there's no other community I'd rather this be an ongoing thing with than with you all who have literally just watched us through the years. So let's keep talking, let's keep hanging, and I promise tomorrow will be another goofy video and you'll get to laugh at us again. But thanks for hanging in there, and as always, until next time, don't forget to do wrong things with the right people. We'll see you later. For videos a little bit more upbeat and uplifting than this one, be sure you subscribe and check out some of the stuff on the screen that YouTube's suggesting. I promise they attempt to be a lot funnier than this one. Not going to promise they are funny though.